access. That's the word that all these teams have been waiting to hear, is access. Because the Big Ten and the SEC control what happens with the college football playoff. What says that they're going to stop at 24? 9-8 wins and a bowl game win is no longer a successful season in college football. Welcome everybody to another episode of Wyatt Zang's College Football Show. We're here for a full college football playoff breakdown. The latest news, the latest everything going on with the college football playoff right now. I wanted to kind of detail what's going on with the playoff, what the future is of the playoff, and what each conference, their opinions, fans' opinions, and my opinion. That is what I'm going to be going over in this episode. So, like I said, it's a full playoff. We're not doing any other segment in this show. I wanted to detail the entire playoff of what's going on. So, if you guys haven't subscribed and you're watching on YouTube or podcast, wherever you're watching, follow or subscribe. Make sure you like the video or leave a 5-star review. All right, let's get into the latest on the college football playoff. So, what's the big news? Well, the big news is that the ACC, the Big 12, and the College Football Coaches Association are now all pushing for a 24-team college football playoff, expanding from 12. So, a lot of people are asking, why was the Big 12 and the ACC originally not for this format and now are? That's the big question. So, they didn't want to sign a deal where they would basically be signing and saying, hey, we are a lesser conference, and signing saying we're going to get less teams in the playoff than the Big Ten and the SEC, and we're going to be declaring ourselves as a lesser conference. That is not what they wanted to do. They did not want to sign a deal that would say that. So, the big news is they are now switching their thoughts on that because there is no more automatic conference qualifiers. So, the Big Ten is asking and I guess putting forth a new format that says, hey, you know what? We're going to get rid of automatic qualifiers or automatic bids for conferences. It's not going to be 6 for this, 4 for this, 2 for this. It's just going to be straight seeding, same as we were doing for the 12 team. Conference champs are in, obviously, and then a G5 has to make it, and then the rest are up to the committee. Here's the thing. That has gotten teams, conferences, coaches to say, hey, what do we got to lose now? Expand the thing. Because you know what that leaves them with is access. That's the word that all these teams have been waiting to hear, is access. Saying, hey, you're going to be gifted the Louisvilles, the Tennessees, the Missouris, the Utahs of the world are going to be saying, hey, you now have a path to the playoff. You can go your 9-3. You can go your high-end 10-2 season, and you have a path to the playoff. You're guaranteed. You're going to get a 16 seed, an 18 seed, a Houston. You go 8-4, hey, you might back yourself into the 24 spot in the playoff. That's what they want, is access. They didn't have access with the former format. They're getting access now. So those teams are saying, hey, you know what? We're all in. Because the top of college football is saying, we don't need a 24 because we got nothing to lose. The Oregons, the Texases, the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Ohio States, the Michigans are saying, we're going to be contending for the playoff every year no matter what. So we don't have to push for this format that would give more access because we don't need the more access. We already have access in the 12-team format. So their thing is, why would we fight for this? Which is 100% accurate and 100% correct. It wouldn't make sense for those teams to fight for this. So the SEC is out on a 24-team playoff. They haven't completely turned it down, but they're pushing for a 16. So, with that being said, teams want access. Is it inevitable? We'll start with that real quick. No, the college football playoff is not inevitable to expand to 24. There's a lot of people saying, oh, it's inevitable. Oh, why? It's coming. There's no question. You could get in the comments and say, it's coming. There's no question, no debating that. You could say that. Seems like it's starting to head that way, but the playoff cannot expand and continue to talk about it. Well, they can continue to talk about it, but they can't continue to expand without the SEC. Because the Big Ten and the SEC control what happens with the college football playoff. If they can't agree, the playoff doesn't go anywhere and it stays at 12. So it's all in the SEC and Big 12's hand, or Big 10's hands. Greg Sankey, Tony Petitti, it's in their hands. It's up to them, whatever they decide. Now, the question is, what is needed for the SEC to say, hey, you know what, we'll do this, we'll expand, we will expand, we're up for that now. It's going to take a lot, but why am I against this? We'll start with that. We'll backtrack a little bit and say, why am I against this? I'm against it because, number one, it devalues the regular season. We've been struggling with this for a while. Teams now look at games differently. They look at each individual loss differently. Because Ohio State, prime example, in 2025, I think that was? Yeah, last year. Ohio State, well, I guess 2 years ago. Ohio State lost to Oregon in the regular season. They were 8-1 or whatever at that point. Won some games. They were 10-1. They win, they're going to the Big Ten Championship, and they're probably a playoff lock. They lose to Michigan. They go 10-2. Guess what? They still made the playoffs as the 8 seed, and they ended up going and winning the national championship. So that's a prime example of you being able to lose 2 key games. Because when that happened before, in the 4-team era, Ohio State lost to a few teams. I don't remember exactly what the teams were. And they went, I think, 10-2. And they lost to Missouri in a bowl game. They made it to like the Cotton Bowl. They were like the 8 seed. So there's the difference between a 12 and a 4. Is you can lose 2 games in the 12 and make the playoff. You can't do that in the 4-team. In a 24 team, you could lose 3-4 games. You could lose a third or a fourth of your games and still get to the playoff. So that's my issue. Is it's going to devalue those regular season games. It's going to say, hey, you know what? It's all right. You lost this game, move on. You lost another game, move on. You still have life. You lose another game, hey, 9-3, we got a solid 16 seed in the playoff. I don't think any of us want that. So another thing is, who says this will fix the problem that we had in 2025, which was the teams on the outside being left on the outside, the Texases, the Vanderbilts, the Notre Dames. Who says that that's going to be fixed? Oh, you expand it, those teams are now guaranteed to be in. Who says that's going to fix it? Because when you look at it, the teams that are 9-3, 8-4, let's say an 8-4 Pittsburgh team says, hey, you know what? We're in the playoff. Let's go. We got the 24 seed. But then 8-4 Houston says, how come they get in the playoff and we didn't? Why are we left out? You're going to have the same conversations. It's just going to be with lesser teams. And I'm not trying to say that Pitt and Houston are lesser teams. I'm trying to say that it's going to be with teams with lesser records. You're not going to have the issue of 10-2 Notre Dame, 10-2 Miami. You're going to have the 8-4 Pitt, the 8-4 Houston. That's going to be your problem now. You're going to have a bunch of 8-4 teams that are left out, and you're going to have, 2 teams that are 8-4 that get left in, and people are going to say, well, why'd they get in, and why do we not? That's going to be the conversation that the playoff committee now is going to have to deal with. So there's no easy way out of this. You can expand the playoff, and it's not going to save you from this problem that we had in 2025. Also, what keeps them from stopping at 24? Let's say they expand to 24 team playoff. What says that they're going to stop at 24? Who says 32 isn't incoming? Who says 64 isn't incoming? The March Madness bracket, basically. I've seen that floated around before. Trust me, the day that happens is the day I want to say that's the day you'll lose me in college football, but let's be honest, this is one of the best sports in the world. You're not going to lose me in this. You're not going to lose me no matter what happens. I would just highly, highly vote against it. But let's just hope that we never have to go there. So, I've seen some formats that I don't like for the playoff. I've seen some formats I've loved. I was a 4-team guy. I learned to like the 12-team. 24, no way. No way am I going to like that. I don't want 24. But there is looking like it's going to be heading that way. So let's get to the playoff committee. What's their agenda behind expanding this thing? So a lot of people don't realize why the committee is expanding. A lot of people think, oh, we're just expanding to have more games. That's their thought. That is not their thought. They see the college football playoff as this ATM over here saying, hey, we're going to use this to basically print money, because that's what they're doing. The college football playoff was made to, yes, a playoff in college football, and who doesn't love playoff? But they're also using it as an ATM, because I can tell you one thing for sure. 2014 playoff would make them a lot of money. A lot of money. And you're crazy if you think otherwise. So they see this ATM over here, and they're saying, well, common sense says we have this big moneymaker over here. So let's use a business as example. You have this business selling t-shirts. Just a weird example. And you're going to say, hey, you know what? We have this business that's making a lot of money, but we have the opportunity to make the business bigger and make more money. What are you going to do? You're going to say, no, I prefer to stay with the other one that, hey, you know what? It's working, and it's working great. Everyone's loving it. But you know what? We're going to stay with that one. We're going to stay with the 12 team. Or we're going to stay with the small business. Or you're going to look and say, hey, you know what? There's this investor that wants to invest, and it's going to make us a lot more money. Which one are you taking? We would all be taking the one that would make the business bigger, right? So you can kind of see, playing devil's advocate, you can kind of see why they would want to move to the 2014 playoff, because it's an ATM that's going to print them more money. But I can tell you one thing's for sure. What if I told that t-shirt owner saying, hey, you know what? You can keep your business the same size. You don't have to scale up. You can make more money doing something else. You can open an online website, and then that'll make you more money. You don't have to expand your company. You don't have to, make the building bigger. You don't have to do that. Just open an online site, and it'll draw you a lot more traffic, and then you'll start making more money. You could do that, or you could go with the other one. Some people would say, hey, just open me up a business if I can make the same amount of money. Because I'm sure there's a lot of options where you could, I'd love to do a show on this, a way to make money instead of expanding the college football playoff. Because I can tell you one thing for sure, college football isn't hurting for money. So that shouldn't be an issue right now. We're fine with money. You could do a 12 team and find other ways to make money if that's what their agenda is behind this. So we all know bowl season's gone. That's another thing. Bowl season is gone. It's headed that way, unfortunately, that bowl games might not even be a thing coming up. We're kind of to that point where it looks as if bowl season is going to be gone. As much as I hate to say it, because as much as I love bowls and, the Peach Bowl, the Cotton Bowl, the Orange Bowl, the Rose Bowl, as much as I love those bowl games, it seems as if they're being majorly devalued or eventually going to go away, which is unfortunate. Another thing I wanted to touch was the fact that success in college football is changing. It's a sad thing, because what does success even mean in college football anymore? It's changed so many times. 9-8 wins and a bowl game win is no longer a successful season in college football. If Tennessee, or let's say Louisville, goes 9-8, or not 9-8, 9 or 8 wins, makes to a bowl game, the Alamo Bowl, the Gator Bowl, and they win that bowl game. In 2021, that would be called, hey, you know what? Congratulations, Jeff Brom. That is a successful season. Good job. Nowadays, it's like, you didn't make the playoff? That's not success. That's what needs to change. The fact that 9 wins is no longer success for those mid-tier teams is also hurting them, because they can't pitch to recruits and say, hey, you know what? We had a really good season this year. Recruits are going to look and say, did you make the college football playoff? No, we didn't. We still went 9-8 and won the Alamo Bowl. I don't care. You didn't make the playoff. How's that a successful season? I want to go to a team that makes the playoff. So that's my issue with that. Success means playoff or bust, and if you don't make the playoff, you either bust. So it's going back to the format of 10 or trash. You're either the best or you're trash. That formula sucks. I'm not behind it. That is not the right formula, a way of thinking. It's also tough to build a program. Like I said, it's tough to build a program when a 9-8 season for Louisville is no longer considered successful, or 9-8 for Virginia or Virginia Tech, or 9-8 for, I keep using the ACC, but you understand what I'm saying. The regular season is kind of my highlight of college football. A lot of people's highlight of college football is the playoff. For me, it's regular season. So here's an example. I wrote this example down. This is an example that Joel Klatt gave. So if you watched his show, he gave a full show kind of like this, talking about the playoff, which is what I'm doing now. So this is his example. I took it, modified it, and this is what I'm using for mine. Inflation is happening in college football. So you have inflation in the United States. We also have inflation in college football. So when you look at real life, the middle class isn't successful anymore in the U.S. and in college football. So if you're middle class in the United States, that's not like, oh wow, you're living a great life. It's, you're middle class. I wouldn't necessarily say it's successful. It used to be, hey, you're living the normal life. You're living a good life. You know, now it's like, man, you're not worth $10 million. What are you doing? You fail in life. You're not worth $10 million. What's wrong with you? You don't have a $10 million business. Well, that's happening in college football. Because the middle class of college football, the Houstons of the world, the Pitts of the world, the South Carolinas of the world, the Auburns of the world, those teams are middle class teams right now, and they're being hollowed out. It's happening in the United States, and it's the same thing in college football. That is what's happening. Inflation is happening, and basically what I'm trying to say here is too few dollars are chasing too few goods. So, example, if you go to the grocery store, you're spending more money at the grocery store for the same amount of groceries. That doesn't make any sense, right? Imagine you go to Aldi, or you go to Walmart, or whatever, what store you shop at, and you used to spend $100 and you can get a week of groceries. Now you go there, you spend $100, or let's say you go there and you spend $200 and you get a week of groceries. You're buying the same groceries, but it's $200 this time. You're thinking, what the heck? What's going on? Last week I spent $100 and it lasted me the week. This week it's $200 and it's only lasting me a week. Well, that's the same thing that's happening in college football. Those teams, those Louisvilles of the world, have to say, okay, well, instead of spending maybe $1 million on a roster, we got to spend $10 million on our roster to get the same caliber guys, the 4 and 3 stars. We got to spend more money just to get the same guys. That is happening. That's called inflation. You are spending, instead of spending $5 on a gallon of milk, you're spending $7. It's the same thing. Instead of spending $500,000 on a player, you don't have to spend $700,000 on a player, and it's the same player. That's happening in college football. So that's my example of inflation in college football, in the world of college football. And that is something that we need to avoid in this country and in college football. There's leaders that are here to fix it, and we hope that it gets fixed in college football, because we don't want that to happen in college football. So that's my example of what inflation could look like in college football. Sorry for kind of going nerdy on you there, but whatever. It was just a good example I had. So what is happening to the middle class in college football? The Iowas, the Washingtons, the Illinois, the South Carolinas, the Utahs. Like I said, it's going to be tough for them to survive. It's going to be tough for them to survive in an era where 9 wins is no longer success. When you get rid of bowl games and you get rid of all this stuff, it's no longer success, and we need to change that in college football. So, I'm trying to see what other area I want to go. All right, here we go. The middle class, what is their argument? This is another good example. The middle class's argument is, hey, why don't you just give us a chance at the college football playoff? That's all we want, is give us a chance to define ourselves as success. Because imagine if Louisville gets in the playoff and loses in the first round. Well, Louisville's going to look and say, hey, you know what? We made it to the playoff. So they can sell to that recruit, we made it to the playoff. Look at that. Well, Yes, it's going to help that those middle-class teams, but the bigger teams of college football, the Oregons, the Texases, the Alabamas, are saying, we don't need help. We're making the playoff no matter what, whether it's 4 or 12. So you could make an argument, like if you're arguing for a 24-team playoff, you could argue for the middle class of college football, but then you're always going to have those teams, 25 through 30, that are going to look and say, man, we're really getting screwed. It's going to happen no matter what you do. So the playoff should be hard to get access to. That's another thing. The playoff shouldn't be, hey, congratulations, 8-4, you're in the playoff. Hey, congratulations, you're 9-3, you're in the playoff. Hey, congratulations, you're 8-4, you're in the playoff. That is not how it should be. It should be, hey, you're 10-2, good record. What's your resume? If you have a resume of Notre Dame's schedule this year, where your best wins were Wisconsin and BYU, but you lost to SMU and Miami, nope, you're out. You're not in. You are out. You are not in. If you look and say, hey, I'm 9-3, but man, I got to win against Alabama. I got to win against Texas. I beat Oklahoma. Hey, you're in over that 10-2 team. That's what it should be. Quality of wins, quality of losses. There's a thing in the world for some people called quality of losses. A lot of people don't know what that is. It's where you can lose a lot of games, but you could say, hey, those were quality losses. Those were 1-point losses to Texas. Those were 1-point losses to Alabama. Those are called quality losses. That loss is different than, hey, you lost by 30 to BYU. You lost by 30 to SMU. Those are different losses. Or, hey, you lost by 35 to Alabama instead of losing by 1 to Alabama. There's a big difference there. And people that don't see that are the people that need help in college football, basically. So those are the people you don't want to be leaders in this sport. But if too many teams make it to the college football playoff, if 24, 32 teams make it to the college football playoff, what it does is it degrades the value of the playoff. So what's more valuable, basically? A trading card that was 12, like let's say, what's more valuable? This is the playoff. A Tom Brady rookie card that is 1 of 12, or a Tom Brady rookie card that's 1 of 24. Which one's more valuable? Which one is the one that you would prefer? You would prefer the 1 of 12. No question. That's my example of the playoff. It's more valuable to own that 1 of 12 Tom Brady rookie card than it is to own that 1 of 12 or 1 of 24 Tom Brady rookie card. You see what I'm saying here? These examples, these real world examples I'm trying to use to help you guys understand the playoff. I'm trying to help you guys get a grasp of what a 24 team instead of 12 team playoff would do to the college football playoff, how it would change it, and what it means for the full landscape of college football. That's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to set your mind on and get you thinking about. Because if you're a 24 team voter and promoter, I want you to know this. I want you to take everything I've said so far, and we're going to get to a few more things here before we get out of here, but I want to take everything I've said so far and put it into a ball and think about it. Before you go and say online or social media or just whatever to your friends and say, hey man, 2014 playoff, no doubt, that's where we need to go. Think about the things I said. Think about the inflation example, the rookie card example, the value of the playoff, of getting in there, the example, the defining success example. Think about everything I've said. And if you still come out saying, hey, think the 2014 playoff is the way to go, that is your opinion. And I'm not going to fight you on your opinion. You can comment below your opinion on the playoff. And if it's something that I don't agree with, I'm not going to fight you down. I'm going to give you why I think it's not a good idea. And I'm going to give you my example and my argument. But I'm not going to say, hey, you're stupid. That's a stupid example. I'm never going to do that. No matter what it is on this show, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to degrade your beliefs. Because if you think that a 2014 playoff is the right way to go, more power to you. That's your opinion, and I'm not going to change. If I can't change your mind, I'm not going to fight it even more. This is me laying out my argument. So let's dive back in here. We got a little bit more to talk about. A few more minutes here. We're at 24, 25-ish minutes in, so we're kind of going a long time here. So back to the beginning. It's up to the SEC and the Big Ten to agree on a new playoff or keep 12. If they agree on a format that expands from 12, whether it's 16, 24, then it'll change. If they don't, it'll stay at 12. So that's where that stands as of now. As a fan, don't jump to conclusions at all. Make sure you weigh out your options, as I said earlier. The next issue that I have, or the final issue kind of, is the college football calendar. How would this affect the calendar? Well, conference championship games would be gone if it was 24 teams. I've heard that thrown around. If 24 teams playoff comes, conference championship games would be gone, and they would start the season a lot earlier, like have it all the way through December into a little bit of January. So that's kind of what would be there. The season wouldn't end. The season can't end any later than it does now. We cannot be having a national championship game January 25th or 26th or whatever. We can't be doing that with recruiting and portal and head coach searches. This thing needs to wrap up around New Year's, whether it's January 1st or January 5th. It needs to wrap up around that time. So that's something that the 2014 playoff would not help at all. So to kind of round this out, to kind of finish this up here, the Big Ten and the SEC have to agree on a format. And it's up to them. It's in the SEC and the Big Ten's hands, and they have to pick what side they want. It's up to Greg Sankey. It's up to Tony Petitti. I'm pretty sure they're going to be on the thumbnail of this video. It's up to them. Those two entities control what happens to the playoff, what happens to the future of the playoff, whether it stays, grows, expands. So to answer the final question, the biggest question that everyone has, is it inevitable? Why is it inevitable that we are moving to 24 teams? I want to know right now. Let me give you my final thoughts. It seems as if it's moving that way. It really does. It seems as if these teams, these entities, these coaches, some of the players are kind of moving towards the way of 24 teams. Now, again, I said something there that a lot of you guys might not have thought of, was players. Because the players matter in this, man. I heard some interviews. I heard Josh Pate interview Ryan Day. And one of the first things they talked about was things changing in college football, the playoff, whatever, calendar. One of the things Ryan Day mentioned in that interview was, we got to talk to the players. I always talk to my players before I make these big opinions, because you have to value what your players are saying. If your players are saying, now players are always going to say more access, more access, more access, more access. But you got to value your players' opinions. You got to value your fans' opinions, you guys, because without you guys, college football is not a thing. If you guys aren't watching and you guys aren't really in the weeds following this year round, people like me wouldn't be creating content, because we would only be able to create content for 5 months out of the year during the season. So you guys are college football. The playoff, whether it expands or stays at 12, needs to be what is better for college football and what's better for the fans. Because if every single fan wants 24 teams, that's what's going to happen. If every fan wants 12 teams, that's what should happen. So you guys are college football, and that won't ever change. So again, is it inevitable? It's moving that way. It seems that way. I hope that it doesn't. I hope it stays at 12. I would not like it anymore. I was always a 14 guy. I'm accepting 12 at this point. So that's my full take. The entire take. It's a lot. There's a lot of stuff here, but you can take that as you will. Take parts of it. Take whatever. So yeah, that's my full take on the college football playoff. Let me know in the comments your opinion on the playoff, what you think it should be, 12, 24, 32, 68. Just please don't be a 68 or 32 team guy. Just don't. Let's not go to that area. So yeah, let me know in the comments. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Like the video. As I said, get down in the comments. Share the show. It always helps if you share the show to your friends that watch college football or people getting new into college football. This is year-round college football. Make sure you guys follow the podcast feeds, 5-star review, all this good stuff. And last but not least, as a cherry on top, follow me on X/Twitter at Wyatt Zang CFB. It just helps us out, gets more followers over there. We'd like to build that platform up. That platform's kind of new for us. We're building it up. Daily news, daily updates, show updates, whatever. Starting to get that a little bit more active as the season comes. So all good things there. So yeah, we will see you guys next Monday for another show. Again, we're doing one show a week right now until probably, I would say, August. And then we'll get to that 2-3 shows per week. It's going to be a lot, but hey, it's always fun. So make sure you guys are subscribed. We will see you guys next Monday with another episode of Wyatt Zang's College Football Show. Hope you have a great start to your week. And hey, hope you have a great Memorial Day. We'll see you guys next Monday. Hope you guys have a great Memorial Day and great day. God bless.